Hi, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to talk about customizing markers, and then we are going to review different line styles. So here is the function that we would like to plot. Y equals sine of x with blue, so the color is blue, circular marker at each data point. So we import the libraries. We use the NumPy library to call the Linestyles function to generate values for x and assign it to x. So the starting point is 0, the ending point is 10, and we are going to have 20 points in this array. Then we use the NumPy library to compute the value for y. So we are having y equals sine of x, but in order to use the sine function, we need to call the np, which is called from the NumPy library. So this is how we can compute also the function of y that we have in the statement of the problem. Here is y equals sine of x. So we implement it here to compute the value for y. Now we need to have the plot function. So the plot function is from the Matplotlib library because we are having it as PLT. So PLT meaning that we are calling it from the Matplotlib library, and the plot is our function. So we are having the horizontal axis, which is x, vertical axis, which is y. Then because we were asked to have circular markers, we are going to have the marker equals O. So when we are having markers equal O, it is going to have circular marker shape. Then we are going to choose the line style. So the line style, when we are having one dash, it means that it's a solid line like a normal way. Then we discussed the color, which is blue. So we were asked to have the color blue. And finally, we are going to label the x-axis, the y-axis, and the title of the figure. And then we are going to display the figure. So when I run this code, we see that the figure looks like this. So here, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and this is the title of the plot of the figure that we plotted here. So we see that they are exactly what we expected here. Then we are having a solid line because we chose it to be solid. The color is blue and the marker is O. You see at each data point, we are having an O marker. You see here? So when we were not having it, the line would have been something without these blue big dots. Okay? But now, because we were asked to have circular markers at each data point, we see that they are shown very nicely here. And also, we see that the x is being generated between 0 and 10, and there are 20 points. So from 0 and 10, and there are, if you count the number of these blue dots, you will see that there are 20 dots there. So if I want to increase this number to 50, let's see how it would change. So first of all, the shape is a bit more smooth, it's more curvy, and you see, of course, more dots there. So you see more dots there, and the curve is nicer. And we learned that if we want to change, we can change the color here. For example, if I'm willing to have a color red, we can have the color red here. Then let's talk about the line style. So one dash means that we are having a solid line. If I'm having two dashes there, we see that, let me change the color to blue and reduce the number of points. It's easier to distinguish the difference. So when I run the code, we see that now it's the dashed line, not a solid line. Okay. And also we learned that we can have dotted line using the colon. So when I run the code one more time, we see that we are having dotted line instead of dashed line. So this is another style. And finally, the last style that we could use is the dash dot line. So dash dot line, you see dash dot, dash dot, dash dot. So this is the dash dot line that we can see here. So it depends on what we are looking for, but if we are looking for a simple solid line, we can simply have it here. it is shown there. Also, there are different types of markers. So the marker that we are using, it's the circular marker, but we could have a V marker. So when I have V marker, you see that we don't have the circular, but it's different. We could have another marker, which is X, for example. So the X marker looks like this. We have, for example, star. When I run the code, we see the star here. When we are having another one, we can have P, for example. The P is this shape. We can have another marker like S. When I run the code, you see that this is the S. Okay, it's a square-like. And then when we are having, for example, this sign, we see that it's like it's moving to the right. And when we are having its opposite, it's like moving to the left. Okay, it's like moving to the left. So depending on what we are looking for and how we want to have our output, we can have different line styles and different marker as well. So now I get back to solid line with the circular marker with the color blue from x 0 to 10 with 20 points. So this is in this lecture we reviewed how we can generate the value of x. We learned how to compute the value of y when we are having sine of x. Then we discussed different markers that are possible to be used. We reviewed actually different line styles here, and then we plotted our figure. Thank you for watching.